All right, hello and welcome to the programming lecture for the week. This one's going to be about conditionals and shapes, so we're going to draw pretty pictures. It's going to be really fun. Okay, so the first thing that I do want to talk about is conditionals, and this is very, very similar. It's the exact analog of the if-then-else block from scratch. Okay, so we have the if and the then, and there's also the else part, which I should probably add down here. So we got like two little bits, right? One for that one for that one, and then we also have the condition up here. So if this is true, then we do this, else we do this. Okay? That's the idea. So do this if the condition is true, otherwise do this thing over here. We're going to translate that to Python land. Okay? Maybe I should have the arrows going straight to Python. Okay, are you ready? So the first thing that we need is the idea of something being yes or no, right? True or false, okay? So that's how we know whether or not, like, the condition holds. Like, okay, I have a number n, it's 5. Is it true? Is 5 less than 7? Or is n less than 7 is the question, maybe. And the answer is yes. And in Python we say true, okay? With a capital T. And if we were to ask instead, sorry, not if n is currently 5, is n less than 3? Well, the answer is no. And in Python we say false, okay? With a capital F. So that is the bool type. So you know how we have the int type that has like the 42, -42, 0, 1, etc. and then floats and other things. There's also the bool type, just like this, which holds only two things, only true and false. Those are the only things that exist inside the bool type. And so you can use this just like anything else. You can set, like, I don't know, b equals true. That's totally fine. Now you have a Boolean value in a variable set to true. Okay? That's the idea. And the whole point of this type is so that we can use it for other things, right? Otherwise, you could just use 0 and 1 and an int instead, right? So true and false, those are important and useful because we can use those to control the execution of a program. If something is true, do one thing. If it's false, do another thing. Okay, so the bool type itself allows you to branch your execution. So like you're doing this stuff, you're doing this stuff, and then you test, is n less than 7, you have a true branch, you have a false branch. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to make this work. Okay, how do we come up with Boolean values is the next question. How do we produce true or produce false? And so let me take you to idle to talk about that. Okay, so let's make a new file called, probably bool.py would work, right? Bool.py, and we'll save it on the desktop. S21 code from class, CSCI 1, 15, 16. I assume it's lecture 17, but I'll change this if it's not. Okay, bool.py, let's go. So I can, of course, say b equals true, right? Totally fine. Print b. Hey, it's true. Print the type of b. Hey, it's a bool. Okay. What are other ways to come up with true and come up with false rather than just typing them out? Okay? And so this is where we have operators come into play. Okay, so if I have two values, I can compare them, for example. So, and I can get true or false back depending on what x was and what y was. And that is by making what's called a Boolean expression. Okay? It's just, maybe I can make this bold. It's any piece of Python code that results in a true or false value. Okay? You get back true or you get back false, depending on the way that your Boolean expression gets evaluated. Okay? So for example, x greater than y is a Boolean expression because it tests what x and y are. So if x is 10 and y is 5, then x greater than y, that question, it's a true answer, right? It's a true answer, it's a yes answer. And let me show you that. Boop. So here is x is 5, or sorry, 10, right? 10, y is 5, and then I'm going to check, hey, is x greater than y? It's true, and I can set that equal to b even. B is that. Print b now. Program won't change at all, in terms of the output at least. Yeah, it's true. Ooh. What if I change x and y to be like, I don't know, let's do 5 and 10 this way. Now, it's not true that x is greater than 10, right? So b will be false. It'll be set to false, and we'll print false. Ooh, that's useful. That's useful information, right? So similarly, you can do greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and less than. Like, hey, is it true that x is greater than or equal to y? It's hard to write this character in code, so we just kind of like cheat and put the equal sign right after it, okay? So those are the relational operators, and now it's time for the all-important equality comparison operators. So what if we want to check whether or not two numbers are equal? We can't just say x equals y, because that's an assignment. You see that? Check if x is equal to 5. Well, you just made it 5, dude. This is an assignment statement, and so it's going to set 5 into x. So we cannot use the equal sign. We cannot use the equal sign to test for equality. We know that, right? Instead, we have to double up. Okay, that's how they solve this problem in Python. You use two equal signs, and that checks for equality. So let's see here. If I go to the code, I can say x is currently 5 right now. Sorry, my cat is playing with a ball with a bell on it. I'm sure you can probably hear that. I can print x equal to 5. Is that true? Okay? And that is going to be yes, okay? Because x is currently 5. And so this is an equality comparison. Okay? And maybe, just to make it easier on us, is like, I'll print the string x equals 5, colon, and then the actual value. Hey, x equals 5, colon, space, true. Yeah? Because the comma translates into a space. Okay. So yeah, that's checking for equality. You can also check for disequality. So check if two things are different. Okay? So that would be like, this is true right now that x is not equal to y. So you say not equal to. X not equal to y is true because they're not the same. Okay? So you read the exclamation point as like not. Okay? So for example, let's say x not equal to y, and that was going to be true. And it's always false that x is not equal to x, because x is always equal to x itself. Okay, so there we have a disequality, checks if it's not the same. And now we have the fun part where we can combine things, okay? Maybe there's like an amusement park ride where you have to be a certain height as well as a certain age. So like your age better be like, I don't know, greater than 12, and maybe your height in inches must also be greater than 48 or something. So this is actually a correct Boolean expression. I have combined these two facts, okay? I want to make sure that the age is greater than 12, and I want to make sure that the height is greater than 48. So I can use the words and, or, and not, and those are Python code, okay? Those are pieces of Python code to combine two Boolean values. That's quite nice. So, let's see here. How do I want to do this? Let's do an example of that. So let's say my age is, I don't know, 14, and my height is, let's say I'm not tall enough. Let's say my height is 44. So I am old enough, but I'm not tall enough. Okay? Then let's say print can ride the ride. And now we're going to calculate whether or not we can. Is our age greater than 12? And is our height greater than 48? And you see that? So you can combine two Boolean expressions just like that. Not a problem. Dun, dun, dun. And you can also negate with not. I'll show you that one soon. So this is and. Remember the truth table for and, because now it's useful to us. Can ride the ride is currently false, because they have to both be true. Remember the truth table for and. Where can I do that? I'll do it very tiny over here. Here is x, y, and here is x and y. Remember, it was true, true. Only when they're both true is it true. Every other time it's false. True, false, false, true, false, false. Hopefully this is coming back to you. So that's what it means for and. Like, and make sure that they were both true. Okay? Or make sure that at least one of them was true. This is inclusive or. Okay? So that's quite nice. What if it was this way? Can ride the ride if your age is greater than 12 or your height is greater than 48. And this one's going to be true because, yeah, I'm old enough. I only needed one of these to be true for the or to work. Okay? That's quite nice. And then not takes one thing and it negates it. So not of true gives back false. Okay, and that's quite nice. And of course, you can replace this true with a giant Boolean expression and it still works. So is it not true that age is greater than 12? Is a question you could ask. And the answer is false, because it's true that age is greater than 12, so that gets replaced with true, and then not negates anything. It replaces true with false and false with true. So it is false. Okay? Lots of little combination things, but it will make a lot more sense in an example. Okay? So not of true is false. Yeah, and just remember to watch out for double equals. That burns everyone when they're first learning to program. I can promise you that happened to me. I messed up so many times that I will never forget now. Double equals instead of single equals. Except for the times where I still forget. Okay, so this is why testing is very important. Yeah. Okay, we're finally ready for the good stuff, for the meat. We're ready for an if statement, not a block. And I think I accidentally said statement while I was teaching you if blocks in Scratch, and this is the reason. If statements is the way that you write in real code. Okay, so in textual code. Now, this is the same as your if-then block in Scratch. Okay, so a Python if statement tests a condition. So here's what you do: you say if, and then you give your big long condition, whatever it is, and then you put a colon. Okay, that is the first part of the if statement. So it's like, if this thing becomes true, then you tab over. So you indent. You can put a couple spaces, you can press the tab key, but you have to indent so that Python knows this is what I want you to do when the condition is true. Okay, because otherwise it just thinks it's extra code. That should be executed always. This is code that we only want to execute up in here when the condition is true. Okay, so this is code to execute as many lines as you want with the same indentation level. Okay, so you can have as many lines as you want, and the second you you dedent, you unindent, you go back out to the normal level, now you can have normal code again. Regular code goes here that you always want to execute. Okay, so it's if your Boolean expression, and then indented all the stuff that you only want to happen when the Boolean expression is true. Okay, that is an if statement in Python. Are you ready? So yeah, that's the idea. We check the condition, and it runs the indented code, and after you're done with indenting code, you unindent. Or if the condition is false, the program just keeps going. It continues with all the code down here. Okay, this happens next. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. It's just a textual form of the if block from Scratch. So let's give an example. Let's do the right example in full now. So let's be like, let's get actually an age. So enter your age. Input. Enter your age. Colon space. So now I have a real age, and it's currently a string, so I want to compare it with numbers, so I need to convert it to an integer. Let's do that. We want to do number things with it, so it better be an int. So we'll convert it right after we get it, and then we can check if, I don't know, age is greater than or equal to 18, you can print that you are an adult or something. I don't know. For better or for worse, you are an adult. Okay, so here is our program. The rest of this is just going to execute on its own, and then it's going to ask us what our age is. Okay, and if our age is greater than 18, greater than or equal to 18, sorry, it'll say you are an adult. So for example, if you're 17, it's going to be false, and it's not going to print. Okay, so the rest of the code goes down here. And it always gets executed, this one down here. So for example, if I say 17 again, it's going to be false. So it's not going to execute this code. Only execute it if it's true. Okay? Capital true, excuse me. And we can have as many lines as we want in here. Doesn't matter. And only if this condition is true will these lines get executed and print out things. Okay? Otherwise, still 17, it'll just skip on down to here to the unindented stuff that always happens. Okay? That's the rest of the code down there. Okay? So that is an if statement, and I just showed you what happens when it's false. Let me show you what happens when it's true. If I type 18 now, because it's greater than or equal to, oops, put the cursor on the right line, hey, it says you are an adult, woo, yeah? It runs these lines because this is finally true. You see that? It gets replaced with true, and that unlocks, if you will, these lines here. Okay, and then of course, this always happens. Once these lines are done, they are conditionally executed. They can or they cannot be sometimes. This one always happens. Okay, the rest of the code, everything that's unindented, always gets run. Okay, so hopefully that is making some sense, and that is a if statement in Python. Okay, not too bad, I hope. What happens if we want to do stuff sometimes when it's true, sometimes when it's false? We want to do a different thing. Okay, so how dare I forget to capitalize these? So maybe we want to do something when it's true and another thing when it's false, yeah? This, then, if else is your friend, okay? So this is what you can do. You can say if, then you have your condition again, colon, then you have your true stuff, and then you say else, okay? So these are all terms that carry over from Scratch, and again you use the colon, and then you indent again. So remember, we're indenting secretly. This is white space. And then you do the false stuff. And so this is how it works. If cond is true, it does the true stuff. Otherwise, if it's false, it does the false stuff. And then they kind of like come back together for the rest of the stuff down here. Okay, they branch out though. It's like only if it's true it does the true stuff, only if it's false it does the false stuff. That's the beauty of it. Okay, so just like Scratch, again, it's just in text form. Okay, so that's the idea. And yeah, the rest of the code gets executed after whichever case had the chance to run. So, for example, if we go down here, we can try it again. Yeah, we can say I don't know, if age is greater than or equal to 18, you're an adult, woo. Else, let's print an empty line for fun, just so that we can break things up. Else we can say print you're a child or something, I don't know, woo. And we can have another exclamation point to differentiate. Okay, so 17, you're a child. 18, you're an adult. So hopefully this is making some sense. So if you want something else to happen, if you don't just want to skip, like up here we just like skipped immediately, you can do one thing or another, depending on the condition. Okay, that's an if-else statement. And sometimes that's not even enough. Okay, so things might get extra messy if you have multiple conditions. You need to check, okay, if we have one, if one thing's true, do this one thing. Otherwise, let's try this other option. Otherwise, let's see if this one works. And it's not just an if-else kind of thing. It's not a binary thing. So that is when things get horribly, horribly messy. And so my example for you is grade calculation. Let's just make it easy on ourselves and pretend that, I don't know, greater than or equal to a 90 is an A, greater than or equal to a 70 is a C, and there's no B or something, right? And then otherwise, you always get an F, okay? Anything under the 70 is an F. Okay, so hopefully you see how this is working. And we can translate this to code. We can translate this to an if-else statement, a bunch of them, which is very unfortunate. Okay, this is what needs to happen. Let me draw it as like a flowchart form, and we'll implement it the horrible way, and we'll implement it the fun way. Okay, so that is an if-elif else statement that will make this eventually pretty. Okay, what do I say here? Yeah. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to first check if the grade, we need to compare something. Check if grade is greater than or equal to 90. If that's true, then you get an A. Otherwise, if it's false, we now need to check another thing. Check if the grade is, I don't know, greater than or equal to 70 now. If that one is false, that means it's in between, yeah? If it's greater than or equal to 70, that's true, then you get a C. Otherwise, if that's false even, then you get the F. Okay, so let me translate this to if and else, and then I'm going to show you how horrible that is, and after that we'll get to elif, which makes it a bit cleaner to read. Okay, all right, let's do this. So going to code, we will do the following. How about we make a new file first of all, and then we'll call it something like elif.py, because that's what we're going to eventually put in it. Okay, so let us get the grade from the user. Input, enter grade, and the user can give us any number that even has decimals, like, I don't know, 99.9%. So this is not an int, it's a float. It has decimals in it. Okay, so we're going to convert that to a float, and now we can do stuff with it. Okay, so let's calculate the grade by following this little flowchart. So first, the first thing that we need to do is check if it's greater than or equal to 90. So if grade greater than or equal to 90, if that's true, then the answer is A. So we'll print A. Okay? Now here's where this gets interesting. We have else, but in the else case, we have to do all of this. You see that? This is the whole entire else case. So inside of that, I have to have another if. Weird, huh? So we have if grade is greater than or equal to 70, then we'll print C. Okay, because that's the true case. Here's the new condition. Here's the true case. And then it also has a false case. And in that false case, it's else, we can print F. Okay, you see what's happening? So the first thing that we try is this. And if that one doesn't work, we get to the else case, and we try all of this, right? It's all indented. We have to run the whole thing. This is the second condition that we try. If this one didn't work, we'll try this one, okay? And maybe it does. If it does, we get a C. Otherwise, it's F. You see that? So we have to indent. It's very weird, and I think you can imagine if I had many more grades here, I'd have to indent a ton. Okay, so we'd have else cases inside of else cases. I think you can imagine this would go on forever and ever for more like A, B, C, D, and F. This works. It's not too bad, but there is a better way. Okay, so let me run this, show you that it's working. We'll say, I don't know, the grade is 99, rerun. Let's say it's a 90, it's still on the lines greater than or equal to A. How about, I don't know, 75. Now it's a C, it hits that one. And then if I give anything lower than 70, so even like 67 or something. Yeah. Then it goes straight to this one. So it wasn't greater than or equal to 90, it tries this one. It still wasn't greater than or equal to 70. Okay, it's F. You see that? So that is if and else. You can nest them like this. That's a nested if else, we say. It's like you're building a nest inside of a thing. Okay, this can get ugly, like I was saying. Let's pretend that this went on forever and ever and ever down this false branch. Oh man, can we do an easier thing? Okay, we can use Elif in between, and that will translate it like this. Okay, you can have if, cond. This is the most general kind of if statement. You have your little cond, and then that's option 1. Okay, this is your body 1. Okay, the contents of an if statement, an if statement's true condition. This is called the body of the if statement. It's weird. It's a weird little metaphor, but it's like, okay, this is its body. And then you say Elif. And this is where you can include another cond. They can all be on the same line. Cond 2. Maybe I can subscript it. Elif cond 2, colon. This is body 2. Dot, dot, dot. Elif. You can have as many elifs as you want. Cond, I don't know, K. You can have a bunch of these little guys. Colon, body K, whatever K means. And then else, this is your final one, okay? Body K plus 1. Okay? So you can have, on the same line, without changing your indentation, a bunch of alternatives, okay? These are alternative conditions that get tried if the original one, cond 1, fails. Gets tried only if cond 1 fails. So if that one didn't work, try this one, do its body if it's true. If that didn't work, do this one, do its body if it's true. All the way on and on and on. Do this one, if it's true, execute its body. Otherwise, if none of them were true, if none of the cons worked out, then do this. That one only gets executed if all the cons are false. Okay, so that is Elif, and you can keep them all on the same line. That's what that makes it easy to do. So translating this, it's not too bad. Calculate the grade using Elif. I think you can imagine if you were trying to nest stuff horribly, this might get a little bit weird. But instead, I can delete this else and merge it with this if. That's the idea. It becomes an Elif. And then this does not any longer need to be indented further. That is the cleaner, in my opinion, way of doing this. It's like, okay, if this one's true, do this. Otherwise, try this one. Do this. Otherwise, if that's still not true, finally do this. Okay? It's an if, elif, else statement. Isn't that beautiful? And of course it's going to work just the same. They're going to match each other. So like 99, AA, 77, CC, 66, FF. Yeah? So this is the better way, I think. And I hope that you will one day prefer it. Okay? But for now, if that's a little too much, just keep the if-else in mind, and you can have ifs inside of other ifs. Yeah? Okay, so now it's time to do some fun stuff with the turtle graphics. We'll draw stuff with color this time and with shapes. Okay, so let's talk about color. You can say turtle.penColor to change the color of the turtle, of the ink that's on the turtle's tail, right? This is our turtle, and here's a shell. That's a turtle, and he's a walking. Well, that's a better drawing of a turtle today. You can change the color on the tip of his tail, okay? You can change it to red, you can change it to blue. The default is black, okay? So if you changed it to red, and you tried to move the turtle, this would happen. He would start drawing in red. And then the second you changed it to blue, he would start drawing in blue if you moved him forward. Okay, that's the idea. You can have this kind of thing going on here, where you draw a little bit in one color and then another bit in another color. Isn't that fun? So that is lines with color. Let's do some of that. New file. Boop. I don't know. What should we do? We have to import turtle, definitely. And then we'll say turtle.shape, make him a turtle, of course. And then we can say turtle.penColor. We can give it red. Okay, and then we can make him go forward. And so this will draw a red line. And this could be, I don't know. Turtle, or I don't know, penColor. penColor.py. So we just drew a red line, and we can turn him and make him draw a blue line. Turn left 90 degrees, and we're going to change the pen color to blue this time, and go forward 100. This is quite nice. See? So we have a red line, and then a blue line after turning. That is useful. That's quite nice. Okay. The next cool thing is, okay, lines are all well and good, but what about drawing things that are filled in? Woohoo! Okay, so now let's do that. Okay, so we can say turtle.fillColor instead of penColor, fillColor. You can set the color just like that. FillColor green will make the shape that you're about to draw put in green. Okay, that's quite nice. And it's a weird little concept. You have to say when you are ready to start filling things, because sometimes you just want the lines. Okay, so you have to tell the turtle when to start filling in things. Okay, you have to say turtle.beginFill, and then you draw your lines that you want filled, and then you say end fill once you're done. Okay, you just have to wrap those around your line drawing stuff, and then whatever you draw will be filled in. That is the idea. And so you must remember to do begin fill and then end fill in between every shape that you draw. Otherwise, weird things will happen. Okay, that's what the turtle expects. So let's draw, I don't know, let's draw a square. Let's draw a blue, or how about a green square? We're going to start him at 0, 0, go that way, go that way, go that way, go that way. But if we do begin fill before we start drawing and end fill after we're done, it will be filled in. It will be beautiful. Okay, let's do this. So I'm going to keep most of this. Copy, new, paste. So we're going to say turtle dot, not pen color this time, turtle dot fill color. And we'll do a green square. Yeah? Actually, I'll take a whole lot more than we had last time because I can keep all of this. If I just don't change the pen color, we're almost there, all the way of making a square. Okay? So notice this, forward, 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 forward. I think that's going to draw a square. So fill.py. Watch this. Nothing happened. I said fill color green, nothing happened. And that's because you have to say begin fill and end fill to tell the turtle, okay, what I'm about to draw is going to be a shape. Once I'm done, fill it in, please. Okay? So you have to remind the turtle to fill in what we're about to do. Fill in with the fill color the following shape. Please, turtle. And then once you're done, you'll say end fill. Okay? Done drawing. Fill in my shape, please. I said please twice. Let's say Mr. Turtle, please fill in my shape. All right. Now, see that? We said begin fill and end fill, and now we have a colored square, and it's green. And you can change this color to whatever you want. You can make it blue, you can make it red. It does not matter. You can make it whatever you want. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, moving right on. We are almost there, almost to the end of these slides. So let us have a little intermission to talk about random numbers. Okay, Python has a random library that you can import. You can say import random, and that's very, very useful for drawing things, making any kind of program, really, that does something different each time. Like in Scratch, it was very nice to have random enemies appearing. Python's random module does that for us too. Okay, so you can search for it. You can say, instead of Python turtle, you can say Python random, and it will give you this page, and that page has cool stuff. Okay, you can say random.rand range, things like that, but we're going to use it for rand int. Okay, random.rand int. It's going to give back, you give it two numbers, and it gives you back a number that's random in between those two numbers, inclusive. So it could be either of them. Okay, so that's what we're going to use, random.rand int. Okay, so I'm going to make a new file called random squares in just a second. Let's see here. Random squares.py. We'll get there in a second though. And first, before we do any of this, let me comment all of this out actually, if I can. Dun dun dun. 3, 3. I believe that should work. Why is it not graying it out? That's what worries me. That's quite odd. I can always just undo it, but how weird. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure this is now not going to do anything. Good. Okay. So I'm going to import random before any of this. We're not going to, I'll uncomment this later. Import random. And so now I can say random.rand int. I can give it some things. So I can give it 1 and 10. And if I print that, it will pick a random number between 1 and 10 and print it. So, okay, the first time it was 7. Next time it was also 7. Nice. Okay. 2 this time, quite nice. And you can give different ranges. 9 this time, you can give 1 to 100, 50 to 100, it doesn't matter, as long as the first one's smaller than the second one. Okay, that was 14, that was 91, 2 again, 59, so it's random, okay? You get the idea. That is quite nice, because the second we can get random numbers, we can do random kinds of programs. So let's make a bunch of random squares, okay? Dun dun dun. So perfect squares, squares that are exactly the same length. I think I didn't need to use the word perfect. We're going to use random sizes and random locations, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to pick a random starting point with the pen up, of course, because the turtle starts in the middle. We want to put the turtle in a random spot, so we draw a random sized square starting in that spot. So we got to move the turtle with the pen up, of course, because we don't want to draw any lines. So maybe our random point was down here. We're going to move the turtle right there. Okay, we're going to pick a random x and a random y coordinate. Okay, so just like this, maybe between -300 and 300. And then we're going to draw a square at this location. So maybe this is the bottom left of the square. And so then we will pick a square size with a random side length between 50 and 200. Isn't this exciting? So maybe it was like 75 or something. And then we draw this square. Okay? But if we ran the program a different time, maybe the random spot was up here, and then we start drawing a giant 200 size square like that. Isn't that nice? So that is, that's the idea, and that is what we want. Okay, so let us make random squares now. Oh, and one more thing, while we're at it, let's ask the user for the color to use for the square, and also let's draw 5 squares total. Okay, that's the game, and this will be nice for your programming assignment. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this. We are going to pick a random starting point for our square now. Boop, boop. I guess I can close a lot of these. Where did my mouse go? There it is. Okay. So this is all nice. This is useful. Let us ask the user for the color to use. Let's do that right now. So the fill color is C, maybe, or color, and the user is going to pick that. So color equals something that the user wants. Input. What color do you want the square to be? Question mark, space. And it looks like there's some weird bug in idle right now because it's not making this green. Sorry about that. So it's going to set color to be whatever the user wanted. Okay? And so then we'll set the fill color to be that. Now let's do what we wanted, the rest of the stuff. Dun dun dun. So we don't need that anymore. But let us continue here. All right, so we need to pick a random starting point with the pen up. So turtle.up. So pick the turtle up. Ooh, and I don't like that it's not highlighting these things. I'm sorry. I'm going to restart idle, and then I'll be right back. Okay, that is so much better. So now we can actually see what's going on. It's a lot cleaner. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is pick this random starting point for x and for y. So we can do starting x equals a random number, and also starting y equals a random number. Starting x, and then starting y. And then we need to move the turtle there by saying turtle.goTo that x and that y, starting x, starting y. Okay, so now the turtle, after these lines are done, the turtle will have gone to a random location. So now he's sitting right here, and we need to pick a random side length for our square, because we needed to know how far to go forward. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so now we have side length, square side length. That's a variable, and it will hold a random number between 50 and 200. And that is how far we go forward when we draw our square, because maybe it's like 50, and we draw a tiny little square like that. Or maybe it's 100, and we draw a double-sized square. Yeah? That's the idea. Okay. So the rest of this is actually drawing the square. Boop. Boop. And the only thing that we have to change for the square drawing part is these sides, these side lengths. Okay? So this is a long little program, but that's okay. We're ready for it. So here's what's going to happen. Turtle is the shape of a turtle, yes. Then we're going to ask the user for what color they want the square to be. So let's say blue, and I'm not going to hit enter just yet so that we talk about what's about to happen. So after the user gives this input, we're going to save that input in the color variable. We're going to save that string that the user gave us and use it to set the fill color of the turtle. So it's about to become blue. Color is about to become blue, so the turtle's fill color is about to become blue. Then we pick the turtle up and move him to a random spot, okay? A random starting x and the starting y, which are random between -300 and 300, and the turtle's now there, okay? We move the turtle there, okay? Then, once we're in position, we get ready to draw the square. We pick a side length between 50 and 200 and use that to determine how far we go forward, because that's what it means to be a square. You go forward by the length that you want, right? And then just keep turning left like we know how to do. And because we want this to be a filled square between whatever, with whatever color that the user chose, we're going to use begin and end fill. Okay, there's one thing that I missed. Did you catch it? Let's try running it now. Okay, blue. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh wow, it actually, it worked. That's impressive. There's a bit of a bug in that I didn't know it was going to do this actually. I didn't ever put the turtle back down. It looks like begin and end fill are like taking priority, which is interesting. The turtle should have gone back down right here. So it looks like when the turtle's down, he draws lines, but it doesn't matter if you want him to fill things. So notice that there is a blue square without a black line around it. And I think right now, if I change this, let's say red square this time. Yeah, now there's a black line. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, isn't that fun? We just picked random spots, and we got the color that we wanted out of the deal as well. So hopefully this is making sense. Do study this program. It's a very important one. Let's try green this time. Yay, so a tiny little green square. And again, if I run it and I still type green, it's going to be in a different spot with a different size. Okay, that one was pretty similar. Let's one more time for good measure. You see? It's a bit random. Okay, so now for my final trick, let us draw those 5 squares. Okay, not just 1, but 5. So how easy is it to draw 5? But boop, copy. This is all that was needed. This one is all this stays the same. Then we do this 5 times. That's drawing the square in a random spot, right? So 1. Let's maybe like comment out this so that we know we're in between each square. Draw 1 square, 2nd square, 3rd square, 4th square, 5th square. I guess we don't need this one. So I've just copied and pasted this code 5 times. Yeah, not too bad. We'll get into loops soon, don't worry. But this is going to work. Save, yes. Let's do a blue square. And so it's going to draw 5 randomly sized, they can't overlap, it's not a problem, squares. Isn't that cool? And if we run it again, we'll get red squares, 5 random red squares in random spots. And that is beautiful. That's abstract art for you. Okay, we did it. We did it, guys. So let me pull up your programming assignment, and we're almost out of here after that. Okay? All right. So what I'd like you to do for this programming assignment is to draw a bunch of triangles, not squares. You can copy a lot of my code, but not all of it. So you're going to use turtle and random again to draw 10 triangles, not squares, with random size and location. Okay? Equilateral triangles, like I demonstrated in class, are probably the easiest, so go for those. Unless you want a challenge, you can do fancier triangles. Okay? What you should do is ask the user what to use as the fill color and set that fill color. Okay? And the one thing that you're not allowed to set the fill color to is green, though. If you've seen this video, it's a funny little meme from a while back. The user is not allowed to choose green as the color. Okay? So that's the one caveat. You have to include an if statement, because if the user asks for green, you check it like this. You'd say, if color, or whatever variable you're using, equal to green, then you make sure that it's not green. Okay? Set it to some other color maybe. Change the fill to be some other color than green, whatever you feel like. Okay? So those are your requirements. Just 10 triangles, random size and random location, with a fill color that the user asks for, but that fill color cannot be green. If the user asks for green, you have to disobey them. Choose a different color, because green is not a creative color. Okay, so yeah, that's all I want from you. Upload a video as usual, and that'll be that. So good luck with that. Please yell at me if you have any questions, but I am forcing you to use this brand new if statement. Okay, after that, it's time for an extra credit opportunity. So if I go back to the modules page, it's going to be down here. It's extra credit scratch review. Whee! Okay, so this is for you and my future students, I guess. So this is worth up to 5% extra credit. So for example, if your grade's 87, your final grade would be 92 if you complete this, this extra credit with the full amount of credit. Okay, so here's what I would like you to do. Your first option is to make a review video going over Scratch concepts. Okay, you don't have to edit the video or anything. Just record yourself and upload it like I do for lectures, and submit a link to it below. Okay, so that your peers can watch it, get some inspiration, as well as maybe my future students. So there's that, and your requirements for that are just contain a bunch of examples of Scratch concepts. Have fun with it. This is like an extra free-for-all Scratch assignment if you want to treat it like that. But I want you to pretend you're the teacher. Demonstrate and explain those concepts that you talk about as you go through it, and maybe pretend like you're giving a lecture. That might help. Now, if you want the 5% extra credit, make a 30-minute video. Okay, it is easier than it sounds because you do talk about things for a while. It's okay to drone on as long as you're explaining things. Okay. And if you just want half the extra credit, it's still extra credit, of course, your video should be at least 15 minutes, okay? Half that original length. And I can help you record yourself if you're having any trouble, but that is, yeah, that's option one. You can do one of these options, okay? Not both. I guess you can do both if you really wanted to, but you'll only get 5% extra credit. Oops. And let's see here. I need to change these percentages. I'm sorry about that. Let me go fix that. All right, I'm back. Excuse me. So for option two, if you don't feel like recording yourself, you can write something. Okay, you can do the same kind of thing, but in text form. And again, you'll have a bunch of examples of Scratch concepts this time, and you'll just explain them. So maybe you want to create some questions, explain their answers, give an overview of a concept that maybe you found challenging but figured out along the way. Whatever you'd like. A little bit of both, maybe. Yeah, just explain as you would maybe in a lecture if you were to have made a video. And yeah, for the write-up, if you want the full 5% extra credit, you can use 750 words, including your code blocks. I'll get to that in a second. And then for 2.5% extra credit, 375 words is perfect. Okay, so that's your write-up extra credit option, still up to 5%. And you will probably have a lot of code in these examples, I would hope. All the words in your code blocks count as words. Okay, so for example, if you use the move 10 steps block, that counts as 3 words because it contains 3 words. Okay, so that can count towards your word requirement if you go and count them yourself. Okay, so those are your options for extra credit. Make a review video or make a review write-up, and I hope that that will help you improve as a programmer, and maybe my future students / your peers will also get a kick out of it. So that's what I got for you. I think that is everything. That's all I have for you, definitely. Okay, so yeah, thanks for getting through this week with me, and I will see you next week.